today's Reporter's Notebook, we look at how we have lost the ability to have an honest debate and stay respectful. I would like to have an argument, by which I mean I would like to enjoy having an argument. A brisk exchange of views where participants are enlivened and learn something. It is still possible. There are pockets of small tribes that still engage in this behavior, though it does feel very rare. What passes for argument today are the sheared-off exchanges in social media and the vinegar that is spooned back and forth on cable news. The Supreme Court depends on good arguments, though the hearing to pick its next member opened with what felt like a group drowning.
You have access to it.
Not so that I
don't
can
forget 80%.
Motives were questioned and serious issues were responded to with loud talking.
I extend a very warm welcome
to Judge Kavanaugh. We have not been given an opportunity.
When questions were asked, the key to any good argument, the nominee offered the usual peekaboo responses. We pick judges who are to rule on the quality of arguments through a process where quality arguments are smothered. Bad arguments endanger a polarized nation. You can't understand why a person kneels at an NFL game or understand why that offends someone unless you know how to argue. And without understanding, you have conflict. A new book by Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt identifies the stakes. Unless we learn to argue better, we will grow dumber, be less happy, and become a nation of grudge holders. So how do you have an argument? Treat others like human beings. Have a generous interpretation of their views. Allow them to clarify before shaming them. Don't judge their motive or judge them by the group they're in. If you are religious, follow the first tenet of every major religion. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. This leads to understanding. And if that doesn't happen, no one gets sore and reaches for the fireplace poker to settle things. Above all, practice humility. Follow the maxim, when arguing with a fool, make sure they're not doing the same thing.
That's good. When arguing with a fool, make sure they're not doing the same thing. But I have to take notes. Generous interpretation of their views. Yeah. I need to work on that part.
I'm going to make sure all of my Thanksgiving guests watch this.
Yes, particularly when you mix argument and family, that can be a particularly difficult challenge to one's generosity.
You need to send that piece over to Washington, D.C., my friend. They could use it in a lot of places.